There's no way to avoid the property. Maybe you bought the most beautiful lake house in Lake Tahoe, and in 30 years, someone builds a condo next to it because some politician rezoned the land to your left and your right, and nobody wants to stay in your lake house. Think about a world, Raul, where everybody's taking their excess money and they're buying. The conventional store of value for middle-class citizen is, I buy a rental home. I had a guy that worked for me. He quits my employ so he can buy 3 rental homes, rental properties, and he rents them out. Okay, well, that's fine. But on the other hand, if you had $500,000 and your choice is, I'm going to have physical property in a domicile or a jurisdiction that can be impaired by circumstance, acts of God, acts of politician. It's like how you rent something in Eastern Virginia during a drought.
And also, anybody who's ever done that trade, and we've all done it, we've all bought places to rent out. It's a nightmare. The actual effort you need to do to rent something out versus owning an asset like Bitcoin, where you virtually have no effort. The difference is extraordinary.
Bitcoin's not going to spring a leak. There's not going to be a property tax. You don't have a maintenance charge. It doesn't spring a leak. It doesn't burn down. There is no eminent domain.
You don't have to evict your tenants. Nothing.
Yeah, all sorts of things like that. It's unique, Raul, in this respect. Property is superior to a security for so many different reasons. If you own property from a custodianship point of view, it's superior to a security. There's no way that a mayor, a senator, a congressperson is going to stand up in front of Congress and say, my Apple stock is a superior store of value to the US dollar. You can't do it. It violates every ethics rule, right? It violates, if it doesn't violate a whole host of laws, it violates ethics rules. Plus, when you're promoting a security, you're taking counterparty risk, right? You're dependent upon the acts of the board, the acts of the CEO. You've got the domicile. Gary Gensler's on television today talking about how the Chinese don't allow us to audit Chinese auditors, and maybe you can't trust a company in China. There's all sorts of issues with the security. So name me the properties. I got gold. Gold's got no velocity. I got timberland. Okay, so the average person, how do you buy $10 million of timberland and harvest timberland? I got natural gas rights. That's great, but if there's no pipeline going to natural gas, how do you sell your natural gas, right? I got Picasso's. Oh, yeah, that's not a manipulated market, right? Art, right? Like it's a very esoteric market. How many people can buy $37,000 or $37 worth of like rare art? Silver? Diamonds? Okay, what's the property that I can trust, right? And the answer is Bitcoin, because it is truly decentralized and it is homogeneous, and yet it has been anointed as property. It's a safe haven. The IRS says it's property. The SEC says it's property. And I'll make one last point, Ro. It's fungible property across time and space. For example, 1 Bitcoin equals 1 Bitcoin today. And if I decompose it to 100 Bitcoin, 1 million Satoshis and put it back together again, I've still got the same thing. And at the same time, 1 Bitcoin in 10 years is going to be 1 Bitcoin. It's going to be the same quality. It's going to be 1/21 millionth of all the monetary energy in the network forever. That's not the same with your house. If you bought a lake house and on Lake Tahoe, to Airbnb it out, in a decade, it may not be as high a quality as today. You have to invest huge amounts of maintenance to maintain as new. Even if you do that, it's still going to be dated in 30 years. There's no way to avoid the property. Maybe you bought the most beautiful lake house in Lake Tahoe, and in 30 years, someone builds a condo next to it because some politician rezoned the land to your left and your right. And nobody wants to stay in your lake house if it didn't sink into the water, if something else didn't happen, even if you're the perfect landlord. And so this idea that I can have a pure, pristine property in time and space that I can decompose and recompose, that I can oscillate, that I can program, this is unique in the history of the world. There's nothing comparable to this. And we have not developed this. This is property that anybody with a computer can develop. I can write a computer program to move this stuff around. Some kid in Zimbabwe can write a computer program on an Android phone that can create value from your digital energy or your digital property. They're not going to develop real estate in New York City. Nobody, and your timberland in wherever it is, Montana, is not going to get developed by some intelligent hacker in Singapore. So you're tapping into something which is incredibly powerful, inconceivable before now. Most people still they don't have their hands around it. Digital energy is the technical metaphor that says this is the technical imperative for Facebook and Google and Apple and everybody with a computer, programming capability or a CPU chip. Digital property is a macroeconomic metaphor. $100 trillion is going to flow out of real property to digital property. Digital money, that's the political metaphor. Digital money is the most controversial. I prefer to stay away from it.
Don't use the term money. It's much easier.
It torques off all the politicians and all the mainstream and everybody that doesn't understand it. And they just get all worried, it's going to topple the government or it's going to undermine the status quo. So if you leave that and you say it's digital energy, it's just energy with a half-life of 1 million years that you can oscillate at 60 megahertz on a mobile phone for 8 billion people. It's digital property. It means every middle-class person can store their life savings in property and get yield on it from the highest bidder everywhere in the world every second of the day, and they don't have to stress out about the property burning down. When you understand those two things, you step back and you say, what am I going to do? And the answer is, I'm just going to own it. Just going to own it, man. Just buy it and let everybody else figure the stuff out. 100,000 entities are going to come up with a way to utilize digital energy or develop digital property. Just own it.
Before we continue, help us clicking that YouTube like button and subscribe now to our channel. This shows the algorithm that you valued this information. And it helps us spread that message. Sharing is caring. And now, let's continue.
What to do in such a situation? Inform yourself and keep your financial education strong. We from the Compact Group offer our loyal subscribers a free educational portal with first-hand monetary, financial, and economic knowledge. Enter our invite-only Insider Club by clicking the link below. You will get access to first-class information far earlier than the rest. We have prepared a special deal for all our members where you can access a giant pool of Robert Kiyosaki's financial wisdom for just $1. To find out more, simply click the link below and join our Insider Club absolutely free. But there is more you can and should do. Build up several streams of income. More and more people realize that they have to take their future in their own hands, but they don't know how and where to start. We from Compact offer our Insider Club members unique opportunities. Strengthen your financial muscle and get the edge. Click the link below. Become part of our free Insider Club. No financial obligations. But there's one important thing you have to know. You have to become active. So do it now. Become active and see you on the other side.